action policy from Governor Rajan this time round. The central bank, like I told you, is committed to an accommodative stance. That rate cut, however, appears contingent on the government doing its bit by keeping the fiscal deficit under control. Latha, Venkatesh and Ritu Singh get you that story.
Structural reforms in the forthcoming union budget that boost growth while controlling spending will create more room for monetary policy to support growth.
The governor did not cut rates, but has laid the hopes and conditions for the next rate cut, which is that the government must stick to the stated fiscal deficit target. The reason?
The Indian economy is currently being viewed as a beacon of stability because of the steady disinflation, a modest current account deficit, and commitment to fiscal rectitude.
The governor made public for the first time the RBI's growth forecast for FY17. The gross value add is projected at 7.6%, which the governor pleaded is a reasonable number. On inflation, the RBI forecast CPI will remain steady at 5.5% in 2016 and fall to 5% in Jan-March 2017. But this forecast does not factor in the 7th Pay Commission recommendations, giving the feeling that there are upside risks to inflation.
The January 2016 target of 6% should be met. Going forward, under the assumption of a normal monsoon and the current level of crude oil prices and exchange rates, inflation is likely to be inertial and around 5% by the end of fiscal 2016-17. However, the implementation of the 7th Central Pay Commission award has not been factored into these projections and will impart upward momentum to this trajectory for a period of 1 to 2 years.
Neither the governor nor his deputies offered any hope of easier liquidity or big bond purchases in their remarks.
I think the liquidity management has been adequate, and we stand ready to do more. In fact, that is likely to happen as we reach nearer the end of the fiscal year.
The governor defended the bank's NPA cleanup, saying that once legacy assets are tackled, banks will be willing to lend to new projects. He announced that rules governing strategic debt restructuring, or SDR, will also be tweaked.
It was, as expected, a non-event policy. But for those who thought that given the huge global deflation, the governor may sound a little more dovish about inflation in India, that hope was scorched. In fact, there was a reference that services inflation in India is not falling, and that throughout this year, calendar 2016, inflation will remain at 5.5% and probably at best fall to 5%, not counting the 7th Pay Commission. Counting that, probably it will be higher, which means hopes of too many rate cuts should be scorched. Yes, there may be one, because after all, it remains an accommodative monetary policy stance. In Mumbai, from the Reserve Bank headquarters, Latha, Venkatesh, with Ritu Singh and Alexander Matthew.